टीकाकरण के बारे में भी उनकी पॉलिसी दिखती नहीं निश्चित क्या पॉलिसी है। अभी उनका जो ऐप काम कर रहा है उसमें तो बहुत सारे प्रॉब्लम है।
केंद्र सरकार इसका आवंटन कर रही है, क्योंकि केंद्र सरकार से चिट्ठी आती है हमारे पास कि आपको इस महीने इतने मिलेगी, इस महीने इतने मिलेगी।
अरविंद केजरीवाल जी प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस करते हैं और केजरीवाल जी कहते हैं कि हम 1,34,00,000 वैक्सीन के लिए ऑर्डर देने वाले हैं, ये मंजूरी हो गई। और आज वो कह रहे हैं हमारे पास कुछ नहीं। सिसोदिया जी उसके बाद प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस करते हैं, कहते हैं कि हमने तो कोई ऑर्डर नहीं दिया।
Hello everyone, good evening. You're watching News Epicenter with me, Marya, Shakil. When the vaccination drive began on 16th, we did have a great start. But over the last 2 weeks, multiple states across the country have been reporting vaccine shortage, which means that the entire vaccination drive is slowed down and the process is now derailing, particularly with the beginning of the phase 3, which began on May 1st. Those above the age of 60 and 45 could even walk into a hospital and get the jab. That was about the phase 2 and phase 1. But since 1st of May, when phase 3 was initiated, making all those above the age of 18 eligible, something multiple opposition states demanded for weeks, there is now a severe crunch across the country after the center decentralized vaccine procurement, presenting fresh bottlenecks along the supply chain. There is an absence of scale as different states and private players have different needs as compared to the original centralized model, where while any localized procurement, storage and transport model has failed to take off, especially amidst the surge in cases, leading to delays and higher costs for end consumers. This is why the process has moved completely to the online appointment stage, creating a shortage of slots for the 18+ age group, which has the least hesitancy, even exposing the digital divide across the country. The crisis has sparked a fresh political war with state governments putting the onus on the center to ease the supply, while the Congress has demanded the center take the lead on procurement and distribution. The Aam Aadmi Party has accused the centre of blocking its request. Meanwhile, the centre has made it clear it has provided over 18 crore vaccines to the states free of cost, and over 9 lakh doses will be supplied in the next 3 days. Union Health Minister Dr. Harshvardhan has said it is time for centre-state coordination, not theatrics. But beyond the politics, in this critical battle against the pandemic, why is the system not streamlined to get vaccines to each and every citizen? Was there improper planning for phase 3? Why do the bottlenecks persist, and will they ease out in the coming weeks? India produced vaccines and gave it to the globe. Why are we struggling to inoculate our citizens? Let me bring in my guests now. Preeti Sharma Menon is the spokesperson of the Aam Aadmi Party. Aprajita Sarangi, Member of Parliament of the BJP. Sujata Rao, former Health Secretary. Supriya Shrinate is the spokesperson of the Congress Party. I'm going to begin with you, Sujata Rao. You had raised the question of the entire system being too centralized. Over-centralization, according to you, was hampering this entire drive. But don't you think in phase 3, when several states are facing problems, there are supply chain issues as well, and this 50-50 formula has meant that there are multiple bottlenecks which were not there initially, in which the process was more or less streamlined?
Hello, can you hear me? Hello? Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Well, you know, the issue is that,
yes.
Yeah. So the issue is this, that, you know, it was centralized and the states felt they needed some decentralized approaches because the way in which vaccination programs have worked all these years is like this. The government of India has equal responsibility on infectious disease control as per the constitution. So it's not doing anyone a favor by saying that we are giving you free vaccines. They're duty bound to do so. So under this sharing of responsibility, central government has always provided vaccines. And in fact, for all the vaccination programs, they've given the cold chain equipment, the training of workers, they laid down the protocols, given the technical backup, and most importantly, done quality assurance before supplying to the states. So over the years, the central government has this huge infrastructure for procurement, for managing the contracts in case a party reneges on supply to take action, and also the quality assurance capability which the states don't have. Now, the states, what do? They implement the outline, they implement the guidelines, they do the vaccine hesitancy kind of dissemination of information, and they implement the entire project as it goes. So if you cost it, it'll be 50-50. Now what's happened is the central government is merely giving the vaccines, and it's very unequal because they have said they'll provide free vaccines for 300 million people. That is 30 crores at 150 rupees, which comes to 9,000 crores of financial liability for them. Whereas they've asked the state governments to take care of the 50 crore people, because total population 18 to 45 as per census 2011 comes to 55 crores, out of which 5 crores government of India is covering, defense and so on. So 25, so therefore 50 crores into an average of 400 rupees, it comes to something like 40,000 crores. So, the state governments are being asked to bear this huge financial burden at a time when their own liquidity issues are so intense. They have no money they have to pay for all these hospitals and the entire coping of the COVID pandemic, where central government is not giving any assistance. So it's very, very unfair, and I really think that this needs to be sorted out.
Okay, Aprajita Sarangi, here is the former health secretary saying that this entire policy is unfair. You were asked, of course, the government of India was asked by the Supreme Court to present an explanation, which they have submitted through their law officers in the form of an affidavit. The question is, the government of India says that in an informal discussion, it has told the vaccine manufacturers that there should be a uniform rate as far as the states are concerned. What the states are demanding is that they should be allowed to procure the vaccine at the same rate the center entered the contract with the vaccine manufacturers. I don't think so. That's an unreasonable ask given the times that we are living in and the liquidity crunch that the states are facing.
A very good evening to all of you. I heard Madam Sujata Rao. She has been the Health Secretary in Government of India, and she is in full grip of the entire issue. But let me tell you, the strategy, the national vaccine policy which has come out is the outcome of widespread consultations. I was going through the entire proceeding and all the documents that actually were considered when the national vaccine policy was finally drafted and put for approval. You know, all these stakeholders have been duly consulted. The state governments were there, and the state governments does not mean the state governments run by the Bharatiya Janata Party. All political parties run these state governments, different political parties are there, they have been consulted, vaccine manufacturers had been consulted, and of course, doctors, scientists and the bureaucrats were on board. And thereafter, the vaccine policy was brought out. The desire of all the states was to give them some kind of autonomy. You know, my chief minister, I belong to Odisha, the chief minister of Odisha in writing gave to the prime minister that he wanted autonomy as far as vaccine procurement is concerned. He wanted autonomy there. He wanted to procure from the market. So I'm sure the other chief ministers must also would have said, and then it was decided that it would be 50-50. Up to 45, we would be taking the cost. Okay. Below 45, the state government must take the cost. It is all cooperative federalism.
Okay. So,
it is partnership. And let me tell you, let me tell you that we have
the point here is that you wanted to be made a stakeholder and hence you have been made a stakeholder in this process, is what Aparajita Sarangi's answer is.
It doesn't make any sense to me at all. What sort of a stakeholder I am if it is the central government that was all along giving me vaccines, and now because the central government wants to have no role whatsoever, they've now asked the states to go vaccinate people below 45. Jolly well the states will do it with their own money. There is no financial assistance that's coming from the central government, and I think Mr. Sujata Rao is the best person to say this, having been a former health secretary, when she says that this is unequitable. This is absolutely unequitable. But having said that, Marya, states are even willing to foot that bill. But the reality is, where is the vaccine? And on that count, I have 2 points to make here. Before we go any further into this discussion, let us establish one thing. In the last 1 month, our vaccination has crashed by 87%. And that is not on account of people not going and queuing up for vaccines. It is on account of vaccines not being available. We overly depended on only 2 manufacturers, and those 2 manufacturers don't have the capacity. We placed orders only in January 2021, and countries like UK placed order in May 2020. And you know, UK, with a fraction of our population, ordered 12 crore dosages. US ordered 30 crore dosages. European Union ordered 80 crore dosages in October last year. In January this year, we placed a first order of 1 crore 60 lakh for a population of 135 crore. How are we even planning to vaccinate our people? And truth be told, in a country like ours, vaccination is the best defense against the deadly virus. And we have fallen short of vaccinating our people. You can keep saying vaccinate everybody. We can keep quarreling over the cost. Where is the vaccine? Because companies like Serum and Bharat Biotech cannot ramp up before July or August. Where will the vaccines come from? That's what I want to know. Sputnik's India.
Aparajita, the question is, where are the vaccines? Yes. 10 days before 1st of May, the Government of India announces that it will be 50-50 formula, that the states can directly get in touch with the vaccine manufacturers and procure. And then they are told that whatever vaccine will be given by the center will be only for 45 plus, not for that phase 3, that is 18 to 44. How are the states expected to prepare themselves in this 10-day and forget about the cold chain and all the provisions which are part of the universal immunization program, which was run by the center Union Health Ministry, which has the proper understanding of the cold chain? Could it not have been a better policy on that front? Because the states are continuing to say, give us vaccines. Where are the vaccines? When they go to the vaccine manufacturers, they enter into a deal with them, but the vaccine manufacturers are also taking time. That is because several states like Andhra Pradesh are being very pragmatic by saying that they cannot even begin the phase 3 before the month of August or September.
Marya, my response will be in 2 parts. Number 1, of course, is the cost. Many of the states have come forward and they have told that they would be shouldering the cost. So at the end of the day, the consumer does not pay anything. This is one part. I strongly believe in the fact that the states must come forward and take responsibility, right? At the same time, let me tell you, Center has many commitments as far as COVID is concerned. 8,923 crore rupees have just been released to all the rural local bodies. You are aware of it. And we are also under the Pradhan Mantri Anna Yojana. We are giving free 5 kg grain for the next 2 months. And we have money for the vaccines. Don't say that we don't have money. Any state which has any problem, we would be giving that kind of support. This is one part. Number 2 part is the vaccination policy. I told you earlier, I would reiterate, it was done after consulting everybody. However, as far as the target is concerned, we have to inoculate, we have to vaccinate around 94 crore people. Below 18 years also, I am saying 94 crore people, and till date 17.56 crore have gone to the states vaccine doses. And right now, if you ask me about close to 1 crore is lying with the states, and 46 lakh vaccine doses are going tomorrow. Now I'm completely, I have been in the administrative sector like Madam Sujata Rao. Let me tell you, we cannot give vaccines to a state at one go. We just can't give. At one go, it should never be
okay.
given. It's a question of
Okay.
storage. It's a question of refrigeration. It's a question of safety of the vaccines. So we cannot give everything at one go. This is not pragmatic. So
Preeti?
I would say that 5 vaccines are under
Preeti,
clinical
respond to
trials,
this,
and we are taking
and then
all
I'll
steps
start-
to ensure that there is no
Yes.
there is uninterrupted.
I'll start wrapping the debate and I'll give the... Yes, Preeti, come in. Yes.
So I think that this entire premise that you cannot give vaccines
Is it
at
pure
one go is
politics at play?
It is pure politics at play, because if other countries have procured so many doses, it is shameful that India, which has always had a very strong and a very functional immunization program where vaccinations are done routinely right down to every village level, would not be able to actually administer a large-scale vaccination drive. That is a completely false premise. The second thing is that they're saying that the states wanted autonomy and autonomy was granted to them. If you remember that Mr. Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia just did a press conference a few hours ago where he showed how when we got autonomy in procurements, as they allege, we wrote to both Bharat Biotech and Serum Institute demanding 65 lakh doses each from them, purchasing. And instead of the Institute and Bharat Biotech replying to us, the central government replied to us saying, no, you will not get 65 lakh doses from each. You will get totally 3.5 lakh doses. So it is not as if a state has autonomy in asking the vendor how much I want, you please give me. No. The fact is that the central government is deciding how much these institutes will give us. The central government, in the face of a pandemic, when the Pandemic Act is in force, cannot regulate prices. That's a major failure. The central government cannot decide how many vaccines will be distributed. That's a major failure. The central government actually allowed exports at a time when the country, 100,000 people died in March and April in India. At that time, we were exporting vaccines. We were exporting from Bangladesh to Barbados. We were exporting to countries which did not have any threat of loss of lives. Whereas if you see the Western world, United States, United Kingdom, none of them have exported any vaccines. In fact, France only exported some, I think, 10,000 doses after their stock was done, after they had what they needed. So every country first has to have the primary
Preeti, as far as giving it to other countries, you know, you have said it. You have said it. I'm just saying, because what the government is saying here is that only 1.5 crore doses were given as grants to countries, and that required humanitarian assistance, and that was as per commercial obligations as part of the overall rollout. So it's not that the vaccines of Indians have been given to...
At the time of a pandemic, when people in your country are dying, at that time you can definitely plead that people in my country are dying and we need this life-saving vaccine. I don't think that anywhere in the world today such calls are cast in iron, where they would say, okay, you let your people die, but you please
fine. I will ask yes, Aprajita to respond to this, but before that, Supriya.
Can I just make a very small point? Marya, there is no point screaming and shouting about this, because numbers make us
as far as the Aam Aadmi Party is concerned. Oh, sorry.
I am still talking, madam. It is my turn to speak. The number of people who have got their first vaccination. Thank you. The number of people who have got their first vaccine shot in India is 13 crore 44 lakhs, and the number of people who got their second shot in India is 3 crore 57 lakh. That is it. Only 3.5 crore people in this country have been fully vaccinated. So first, let's stop misleading our people saying so many vaccinated. The second and 2 points that I want to make is, we had a vaccine fund of 35,000 crore rupees. Only 44,400 crore rupees of that has been spent. Why is 31,000 crore rupee of that fund lying unused? That's the first question. The second question is, when we say 46 lakh vaccines are coming, please understand, or the 9 lakh that was quoted in this show, 9 lakh is our population, and 46 lakh is 0.35% of our population. It's minuscule. We have to go hammer and tongs. We have to listen to good suggestions. Please get the Patent Act Section 90 done. Get more people to manufacture vaccines here in this country. We will be able to tide over the shortage. You know, get more foreign vaccines approved as fast as possible. Why are we not doing things like this? I don't understand.
Yes. Okay, Pranjita, the point here is that the opposition feels that the entire policy is discriminatory. If they are expected to get in touch directly with the vaccine manufacturers, as Preeti was pointing out here on the show, that the vaccine manufacturer doesn't respond to the letter. Instead, the government of India says that only a particular quantity will be given. So finally, it is the government of India which is deciding what is the quantity that will be sent to various states. Then how is it really taking the states on board as stakeholders? What really is the confusion that is there in this policy then?
See, we have to have good coordination between the center and the states. There are states who are getting all the things done after talking to the central government. Central government is always in touch with the states, right? Now, as far as Aam Aadmi Party is concerned, Aam Aadmi Party wanted 976 metric ton of oxygen per day. Do you know this? When we asked for oxygen audit, they were reluctant. So the point is that the resources are limited, demands are unlimited. Naturally, the center has to get into analysis of things, and it is done only after consulting the state governments, taking everybody's point of view, making a realistic assessment, and then take actions accordingly. Now, let me tell you, vaccines, yes, there is a vaccine policy in place. I reiterate, this vaccine policy, which Congress party is opposing now, Aam Aadmi Party is opposing now, this policy was done after due consultation with the chief ministers of states which are governed by them. You are understanding? And we had also taken into account the views of many experts.
I'll give the final word to Sujata Rao, but before that, Preeti, all the states were consulted, is what the government of India has said also in its affidavit before the Apex Court, that all the stakeholders and consultations were held at multiple levels.
It's the same government that told the Supreme Court there isn't a single migrant on the road.
At all. There is no consultation with the stakeholders.
Absolute
and suddenly
lies.
The BJP on to all. That's not true. The second part, the lady mentioned oxygen. You know, nobody's eating oxygen. Nobody's releasing oxygen into the air, into balloons. People have died due to the lack of oxygen from Karnataka to Uttarakhand, all over India, because the center has failed. They have failed in distribution of oxygen. They have failed in distribution of vaccines. It is a failed central government. And anything that they say now doesn't justify the fact that if the court has told them give 700 metric tons daily, the Supreme Court as well as the Delhi High Court, and they have yet failed to do it. They did it one day. They are still not supplying adequate oxygen. And fake statements that we are hiding from an audit. We were the ones who proposed an audit. We calculated 976 based on a central government formula.
Fine. Let me give the final words to Sujata Rao, because we have to look for solutions. Certain solutions have to be proposed on this show, and I'm going to turn to Sujata Rao. Sujata Rao, a lot of questions and confusion that is there. You know, I'll just make one point, and I was reading this. There is a robust universal immunization program infrastructure which has a solid network of 29,000 cold chain points, and this is about storing the vaccine at particular temperature. All that was in place before the 1st of May. After 1st of May, if all these changes are happening with this 50-50 formula, it's about creating more confusion and these logistical impediments which are very real.
Maria, if I may be permitted, since you have a very strong, little time left, let me just put two things in perspective. One is, no matter what formula the government of India comes out, there's no supply of vaccine. And why do I say that? Right now, Serum is producing 6 crores of doses per month, and your biotech is producing maximum 1 crore a month. So together they are producing 65 to 70 million doses, okay? In July, end of July, they have promised to take this up to 120 million doses. Now, we don't know, the Serum also has commitments to the Western, to Gavi and to other bilaterals. One doesn't know where that goes. Between the central government and the state government, the total they need is 1.2 billion doses right now. So what are we talking about? We don't have that kind of time at the rate of 120 million per month. We don't have 10 months to vaccinate everybody. That's number one. And why am I worried? I'm worried because the third wave, if it comes, and you have a large number of unvaccinated people, children, and youngsters, it's going to hit them. That's going to happen. So the solution here, which you're asking for, is, and I don't understand why the government of India is dragging its feet is to do compulsory licensing. I'll even keep serum out. Let's take Bharat Biotech, where we have 50% partnership in terms of, patent or
Yes,
whatever
with
you might call it.
ICMR, yes.
Yes, and we have in our country almost 8 vaccine producing companies which can very quickly, if given the technology and permission, can very quickly ramp up production. The others like Reddy Labs and company can do fill and finish, which is also a very important process. Not everybody doesn't have to make the vaccine. You do filling and finishing and providing the product. And therefore, instead of this 120 every month, we have to scale up production to something like 500 million doses, because we just have a small window before the third wave comes when we have to vaccinate everybody. And that means not 20,000 and 44,000 vaccination points. We have to think in terms of 1 lakh vaccination points with public and private sector. Anybody who can do a intramuscular injection should be put on the job. And that can only happen, and you can get private sector into your fold only if you are doing what you are doing today. Give the vaccine, give them a margin of money to cover their overheads and provide it at a cost if they want. But you have huge number of points. Those who can pay 200, 250 will go to them. Those who can't will come to the government facility. So rather than that, what have you done? A big mess. Only 4 hospital chains, the so-called private sector, is only 4 or 5 hospital chains who can afford to buy 1,200 rupees a dose. They have deep pockets where they can invest. You think these small Gita nursing homes and so on and so forth can afford to buy vaccines and do vaccination for 1,500 rupees? What are the clients that they're serving? So the whole convene requires that centralization. People who are living in urban slums and rural areas don't have smartphones. They don't have computers. They're not internet connected. What convene registration are they going to do? So, this whole policy has to be revisited, and we have to work towards a very, very urgent action that we have just 3 months. God may give us a second chance. We blew up the first time. This time we should not let it, and we need to vaccinate.
Absolutely. Thank you for all the points there, K. Sujata Rao. Always a pleasure to have you on my shows. Supriya, Prajita and Preeti, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we had a great all-women panel today. That's all from me. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll be seeing you tomorrow.